Alright guys, in this one here, we're going to be talking about a little bit into the Schumann resonance, something called the Schumann resonance. It's like a frequency that the world vibrates in, and our body is created to accept these vibrations and kind of flow healthy. It's things that keep us from getting sick and stuff like that, and touching a little bit on the next phase of it too, without getting too Bible-y. We think there might be a conspiracy here to hide this source of our connection to these things, like the Fibonacci code. We're going to explain a little bit about that and what it has to do with this natural vibration that we were created to exist at, in harmony with this world. I believe that this has been hidden from us. I mean, if you believe in a creator, that we were created, if you want to say there's a God and you're going to heaven, you've got to say that he created this pineal gland, or this third eye that's been I think deceptively hidden from us, say Christians, as a link, more of a spiritual link. That's why they're killing it with the fluoride and whatnot. I think it's been cloaked behind these crazy blue 8-legged gods with the elephant heads and anything, and it keeps the real reason from us as creations from a creator, from our God, a Christian God. We just are repelled from this idea that this is a spiritual center that our God created in our heads. Alright, well, let's just check out this information here we got. Check it out, guys. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. But yeah, the Schumann resonance.
Yeah, what's going on with the Schumann resonance?
It was this guy Schumann. I forgot his first name. Otto, I know his middle name. He worked for a while in these frequencies, like these hertz that vibrate, that occur naturally in nature. And he came across one, make a long story short, testing electromagnetic waves between the surface of the Earth and where the ionosphere begins, which is like 30 miles. Okay. It's 30 miles, then it goes ionosphere, which goes up, I think, several hundred miles, and then probably the Van Allen belts or whatever's next, the shit they can't, the shit they can't get out of, right? But for 30 miles, we've got this electromagnetic resonance area that he found out resonates at this frequency, 7.83. It's like the frequency that we live on. As soon as you go below the Earth, it's different. He did studies on his students. He was like a professor at a college. He did test subjects that stayed underground for lengths of time, and they were separate from this 783 resonance that we are supposed to be living in above ground. Okay. And they started showing like signs of dementia and even physical distress. They got stomach aches a lot when we're removed from this for any length of time, this resonance. And as soon as they were brought up, it goes away. And even as soon as they introduced it down underground in their rooms, immediately all the ailments would go away. It would immediately bring you right back into this harmony. So he got into the frequencies of the brain, like through MRI machines and stuff, and they vibrate. It turns out there's a lot more. The popular one is this 783. Really, there's 8. There's 8 frequencies that are in this Schumann resonance. Okay. And there's also, though, 8 in our mind. It's just the popular, I think, New Age one, the big, 783, right? The magic this. But really, there's 8. But there's 8 to match in our brain also. That we, like, I guess if you look at the Schumann resonance, like you do the sketchy line in a lie detector test, right? It covers an area, and then I guess within that area even you could fine tune it, and we're supposed like to, we're healthiest when we resonate at that.
Like tuners to the earth, they go, whoa.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, and it keeps us healthy. The more we stay in tune with that, and we keep ourselves in that, I believe. I think we're supposed to make a conscious effort. And that's where the enemy...
Right, we're supposed to know about it from the beginning.
Right, by feeling it. Like you do... It's a subtle... It begins as subtle as that feeling of like when you go out in the morning first thing barefoot and in that time of year where there's dew all over the grass. Mm-hmm. And you're barefoot. Thankfully you don't throw your rubbers on. And you go out there and you hit the dew, right? And it's like the sun's rising, and you get this. It's like the acupressure treatment of nature. Does anyone not go, wow, that feels good somewhere in the back of their mind? The dew hits your feet, and it's just like it's a charge of energy. You get sensitive to that stuff with the antennas. Let your hair grow, like we talked about in our other videos. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject. There's yet another way to collect this energy from the earth besides the electric waves through our hair. And it's this Schumann resonance that vibrates, between every one of our cells. The things that make us solid even is connected by water. All the little round cells, all the space between, right, is water. Yeah. We're like, 78, 80 something % water, right? So that means we're very susceptible to vibration. At these very low vibrational tones. It begins with delta. Delta is like a 1 to 4 hertz, and this is associated with like deep sleep or unconsciousness. That's like 1 to 4. Now the ideal, like we were saying, was a 7.83. That's basically an 8. 7.8, right? It's basically 8 is our ideal number, somewhere right in there, the high 7 and low 8, and it goes from delta, that 1 to 4 range, to theta, which is 4 to 8. It's 4 to 8 hertz, and that's associated with light sleep and like deep meditation, that level. And that's where we're supposed to exist. That's where this kind of like when we just wake up, that type of feeling. It turns out that the waves that are coming up, the frequencies that our TVs and things like that, our data devices are tuned to, is in the delta wave, the 1 to 4 range. That's where all of our media and everything we watch on TV,
low stuff.
That's where the frequencies of the microphones are tuned into. Yeah, and it keeps us in this, a subconscious state of hypnosis. That's where they get in, is keeping they bombard us with they've even got the flashing now, that's why it was mandatory we went to all digital, because it went from the old flashing tube with flashing frequencies. They've known about these frequencies since the 50s. Well, you think that Schumann got that in 54 and they weren't all about using some frequencies on some level society, let alone our enemies at war. Oh, we only did that to the Germans, right? Yeah, right. They're like, you mean we can control the kingdom with flashing frequencies at certain times?
Ooh.
Since they've gone to digital, man, it's taken it up a whole nother notch with how minute they can dial these frequencies in to make us think certain ways before the news comes on, or before American Idol comes, or American Idol is the thing that builds us up to feel the way that we're gonna feel when we watch the news after that. And they pump us with these very basic delta wave. It puts us right to sleep right after a very big emotional experience. Whether it's the 8 to 10 movie, with the big explosions at the end, and then wah, 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 in the back of your mind, and now you're instantly susceptible. You're ready to fight or save the girl or run into the burning house, and now it's time for the news, right? In the delta wave zone, right? Sit back and, man, it's crazy with the subliminal suggestions. There was one I remember. I used to stay up.
Take a chill.
I used to stay up late, like every night in the summer. I'd stay at my grandmother's and wait for my uncle to get home. He worked like it's a 24-hour convenience store, and we'd end up watching like Twilight Zone and stuff till real late. But every night you couldn't. The channels would run out. There wasn't even cable TV or nothing. The channels would run out, and they'd do this national anthem thing, right? It was like it was even in black and white, man. Like the jet flying and the flag, and you have the Boy Scouts running to their deaths with smiles on their faces and shit. Yeah. And I remember it was like one of them follow the bouncing ball deals across the bottom with the letters. Yeah, it would but it would blink across in this really strange way. And I always thought, like it's a military thing, right? And it's kind of across the bottom. But I always detected this weird way the letters rolled across. They didn't have the bouncing ball. Like, remember, follow the ball. It was this bleep. And man, people have found out. I watched this thing, man. Now you can slow it down, right? You can stop this stuff.
I was thinking maybe we can find something.
Yeah, no, people already have. Just look it up on YouTube. We'll leave a link or something. You slow this down, and it's got all kinds of stuff in it, like government is God, obey your leaders. Right in it, man. I mean, plain. And I remember seeing that shit, and I never put. And then I'll tell you what, that was when I was like 13, 14.
Right.
I'll be damned. Like I told you, I think in another video. Damn if they didn't have me, I got thrown out of school, didn't even go home. I went straight to the recruiting station. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. They wouldn't take me. Thank you, God. I'd have been marching off to my death. That's what I was all about, too. Marching right off. I didn't want to do no, clerical shit. I was like a ninja back then, man. I was ready to die. Crazy. Yeah, that's what they do. They keep us at these susceptible levels. But anyway, I got off the subject again, because I know we're under attack, sheeples. That's why we're trying to help you all. I don't know what more. Some of y'all just think it sounds crazy. Maybe if we bah, a little bit more. Maybe if I I mean, can y'all, does any of this sound like we might be being misled somehow? I mean, tie all this in. Watch a few of our other videos. It looks like our ability to even vibrate like we're supposed to. Some people think that if we're kept at the levels we're supposed to, our cells vibrate cancers away. In fact, this guy did a test. It took a while, but he vibrated with certain frequencies cancer cells away with no medical treatment whatsoever.
Isn't that what Royal Rife did?
And Royal Rife, that was him. It took a while, but he could kill cancer. I mean, this was, let's perfect this, right? This was the introductory studies this guy did. He literally could kill cancer cells with sound waves, frequencies.
And that was in the 1920s.
Yeah, squish him, just like Tesla. Oh, free energy. Are you? You're crazy, insane. Yeah. But anyway, the Schumann resonance. From theta, it goes to alpha, which is like a 8 to 14 hertz. And now you're getting into like light meditation type stuff, base of consciousness type deal. It's a pretty high resonance. I don't think we're meant to stay there. You might go crazy. Well, I guess the better you get at it, maybe the more time you can spend there without really being overcome with, this level of receptiveness you have to the knowledge you get once you connect, man. I'll tell you, we talked about it before. It's not like they show you on TV. It's more like real. I mean, it's more like take the deja vu you experience rarely, and you start cleansing yourself out, your pineal gland and stuff. Look into it. No fluoride. You'll see that these things will start happening more often, and to the point where you get accustomed to them enough to not get so shocked about your deja vu experience. You're more relaxed. You'll be able to
slow down.
Sit there and check it out a little bit longer, and they start lasting a little longer. I didn't even want to get up into the beta vibes, I guess. 14 or 40 gamma. 40 and up, I guess you become some kind of light being if you start receiving gamma hertz. But it's kind of interesting when you think about how electric our brain is, and when you get into the link with the hair and how we went over how they look just like electric currents. They're made of the same stuff, copper and selenium. They've got a split end, a positive and a negative, a dead end, and they go right into our scalp. And everyone knows our brain, our thoughts don't travel through blood. It's all electric current, zapping and pulsing all over. So it's where our antennas plug right in. picks it up. I think it's meant to center it into this core, the pineal gland. That's why they're assaulting that too, physically. They get us every way they can. They've got the best scientists working on this. Even if they have a skirmish. If the banks, the real rulers, the Illuminati, orchestrate another world war, because they're making the money on both. I mean, they finance Germany and Hitler and the U.S., the bigwigs. They're, like the Rothschilds, the elite bloodlines. There's only a few. There's just a few. Yeah, the Rockefellers, those types. They've been around forever. They've been inbreeding. They've had such inbreeding. Oh, you should see some of the portraits of the deformed kings they had. Little 8-year-old deformed kings and stuff. This is really happening. These people are raised to think this way. They believe in God and Satan. But they've gone the route of the Satan way, who's out to destroy our souls. So they are going to do, in believing in this, whether you believe it or not, you as a lesser human, one of those that's proud to die for their cause, God bless America, or whatever country you're from, the German Nazis were praying to the same Jesus, blasting back at us, right? They knew they were right. Of course Jesus is going to be with them. They get us every way they can. Right? And we're discovering the Schumann resonance and that how we're susceptible to these changes. In fact, they did studies like in 2014 they were noticing there's people who just study this. They just study this Schumann resonance, and you can get the charts and stuff, see different pieces of it where there's these spikes. And it's funny that some of these spikes, I didn't look, I need to do some more research, but one of them, this kid I was watching, he did a real good presentation. We need to leave a link on him below, Destroying the Illusion. But it shows like January 1st. He doesn't touch on it too much, but I noticed January 1st was a huge spike. It went from 7.83, the normal, what we're supposed to be in harmony with. It jumped 36 hertz.
Right.
It jumped, 36 hertz right on January 1st when everybody's in a stir. There's a lot of emotion, there's revelry. And then later on was Easter 2017. It jumped 90 hertz, like the highest recorded peak since they've been messing with it.
I wonder why.
90. It's Easter. Maybe everybody's very religious. There's a lot of Christian Easter emotion being stirred that isn't normally being stirred.
Right.
People go to church and they're nice as hell, and then it's like, screw you, as soon as they get out of the parking lot, right? But there's a lot of God thought on Easter. Jumped to 90 hertz. And I need to do a little more. If anyone else can look into it and see if we can get back into some... Hey, maybe we could look at Woodstock and see if all that chanting and stuff, where there was a spike back then, over those 3 days. Or I was thinking maybe that's why these monks that sit there and these... I wonder if that's why they sit in these acoustically designed like pits, like maybe 500 of them, and they all try to achieve this same resonance to send this energy up. Because I'm thinking it's looking like a lot of people talk like this field affects us, but I think when we work together as enough people with the same resonance in mind, we can make what this 30-mile cover of the earth vibrate. We affect it. It's looking like we're spiking it. These spikes happen Easter, New Year's Eve, where many of us, it's showing how we're all one.
Right.
We're all on this higher level. And when you look into it, you find out there's a lot of evidence to these illuminated ones disrupting that vibration that's supposed to keep us healthy and live possibly, who knows, forever, maybe like an original plan. They've got, they took what was, it was called the Fibonacci scale, and it was like this harmonious scale of notes that occurs in like everything that grows, like a pine cone or sunflowers. They use a lot as an example. Everything that grows, you can trace this Fibonacci scale. Even our fingerprints, they have it in it.
The sequence?
Yeah, you like box it up. They divide it into rectangles. It's supposed to be like the perfect rectangle, and they go from there up a scale. It's like you take two numbers and then you add those two, and it makes a number. Then you add those two number, the number that number and the number before it, and it goes.
7.
Yeah, right. And it's a perfect resonance scale. And they used to tune instruments to it, or pianos or orchestras would tune to it. It was 432. It was this optimum for the vibration of our body to receive sound and get the most out of it. That was the best. These geniuses, like Beethoven, they came up with this, right? They figured they used this. Listen to people playing little pieces of guitar, a few notes on 440 and then playing it on 432, and you'll be surprised the difference. It's not even anything you have to listen hard at. And these are musicians going, look at this. I tune my instrument to 432 now since I found out about this. Well, everything you listen to since they decided they were going to take over and start fluoridating us, our water, and trying to shroud our pineal gland in calcium to keep us from resonating. They're doing it with our vibrations, too. They've taken the Schumann resonance and turned it into a weapon. They figured out how to keep us from it. We can't ever vibrate at the 7.83 or in a range we're supposed to be satisfied and happy. And then keep throwing the boobies at us, and the big giant everything, right? From burgers to mansions, and man, you got just saddle right up to the pixel oat bag, and gobble away. Slurp your slime. Dripping out of the TV set. Slurp that stuff up and wait for somebody to win something. Wait for the bells and whistles to go off and hope it's who you voted for because you hated the shit out of everybody else for the past 4 months. It's crazy. Bah, bah. Are you people listening? Bah. They got you, suckers. And we're trying to help you. Call us crazy. We're trying to get you out of this. Like, I believe it was I want to say the 30s. A German that was it was Goebbels there. That Goebbels guy before World War II was working on this stuff. This changing the vibrational frequencies to see which frequencies would affect people negatively instead of the 432 positive. And during the war, Hitler did a lot of experimenting with it. Of course, he was right into all that, right? Let's go, grab the twins. Grab the twins. We're going to see which one we can drive crazy first, right? Yeah. Turns out they found out this frequency was 440, and it was enough it's like in the depression realm. It's like that light sleep, deep meditation, right? The 4 to 8, 1 to 4 is delta. That's the one TV gives us, your regularly scheduled programming. And then there's theta is 4. It's right in there. That's where Hitler picked. He tweaked the old resonance just a little bit. It was 432. Yep, he went to 440. That was it, by 8. And that's all they want to do. They don't want to render us helpless. They want us to just be a little more depressed in a big way. I mean, we all crank up. It turns out everything we have now, our technology, any kind of, it's all tuned to a 440 hertz. Because after the war, we didn't trash Hitler's idea. The Rockefellers saw to it that all the standard tuning for the music around the world, the one world order, will be tuned now to 440. If you have a piano tuner come to your house, ask them to tune it to 432 because they're trained to tune it to 440. So what are they willing to do if they so happen with the evidence that we show you people? These people aren't looking out for human being or Earth's best interest in any way. They want us living on a burning planet called Mars. That's where we want our kids to want to live. This red hot hell planet. These people, if they worship the Satan, that they believe in a God, their relatives have believed in God and Satan for generations, way back. We're talking the kings and queens, and say King James, the one who took it upon himself to better the Bible, the Christian Bible that we've got. We're also worried about what this word means and what that might have meant. The one that's been abominated time and time over by men. So much that we have to really stop worrying about the words and start just feeling the spirit, and let it guide you. If you get that full armor, okay, you can swath through this stuff without worry. That's what you got to do. But you got to realize that's for the Christians out there. I know these atheists and these mud skipper squirters. They're not understanding me. But this is what I'm telling you here with this message. You don't have to have to believe that there's God and Satan in this. Just understand and look into these people, what they've been worshiping. They've been around since the Merovingians back then, the Knights Templar, these bloodlines. They cherish them. That's why it was so important to inbreed, like even up into really recent times, and they're doing it still today. They're manipulating DNA and everything. They're very proud of their bloodline. This is how you can sleep at night and send 25,000 men to their potential death for your bank, or country to the soldiers, but bank to them at their level. They sleep at night because they know that those soldiers aren't of the royal bloodline, the ones that are illuminated and should propagate the earth. And even better, they've got the soldiers proud that they're marching to their potential death for their country, unwilling at all that all they're doing is serving the means of this royal bloodline to possess all the power of the earth. That's why they give us this whole illusion that we live in. It's all just fake. They're keeping all this stuff from us, like these Schumann resonances, these things that will give you a better insight as to what's going on. It's called the broad and spacious path. I'll tell you what, I forgot who it was. I wish I could quote him. I have to put it on the screen. It went something like, the greatest trick the devil ever played on mankind was convincing them that he didn't exist. And that's what they're doing. These people that worship him are waiting for this great reward for him. They believe in a second coming. Jesus is coming. They also believe they're not going to win. They believe that. They know God is more powerful than Jesus. Demons run from Jesus, and you too. When you clothe yourself in that full armor, yeah, they run. Now, I guess I get a lot of slack from Christians, these Bible thumpers sometimes. They don't like you being arrogant about it, you know. I got something to say to y'all all at one time. Look, we're supposed to follow in the example of Jesus, and if we're a Christian, and the apostles, and I think sometimes maybe when the war comes, and I think it's here, and I think we're fighting it, you know, it says our tongues will be our swords. Well, I'll tell you all something. This says our tongues will be our swords for a reason. And I think there's two kinds of angels. There's angels that carry harps, and there's angels that carry swords. And, you know, we need both of them. You know, the harps are important. I hope somebody's cranking out. I hope Dawn's up over my shoulder with an electric harp plugged in, right? Crank it up to 12, because those go up to 12. Yeah, and crank out something on the harp, because I'm going to have my sword out, and I'm going to be swathing our way through the demons. And I tell you what, they run. It's not like on TV, like they've trained us to think where they're these big power. Man, when you're ready for them, man, they run. You go looking for them. And that's what we're doing here, people. We're trying to snap you people out of this. They've got you in this mud skipper shit zone where there ain't nothing after you die. And you're missing it. You're missing it big time. And I'm not part of any religion here. And that's what I think. I think we're all being misled again. It's division. They're dividing the sons of God. All of our God. And that's another way they divide us. That's how he works, man. You divide the army up into little pieces, and it's way easier to manipulate them all and at a time. Take them wherever you want. Get them hating each other, right? There's the black section. Oh, there's the white section. You know, it's a big illusion to keep us easy to control. You gotta just, you know, it's easier if you can pick one to focus on, you know. I feel I was fortunate, I guess. I was given that automatic ability to connect with Jesus, and so that's what I go with now. But I don't get into the minuscule translations of books that we know have been, I mean, even the Vatican admits they've got entire books of our Bible kept from us because we're not ready for them, and the Pope, through his divine, you know, he's closer to God than we are, right. So he'll decide if we ever need to see this stuff. It's a little fishy. I think I wish I wasn't rusty, but there was a time I could call this up where it talks about, you know, any man who puts himself between you and Jesus is surely an imposter and a wolf in sheep's clothing or something to that effect. And isn't that what you're doing when you're saying, well, we can't show you everything about your faith in God. Right. We'll dole out a little bit. It's too much, you know, for you at this time. But the Pope will make the final decision when he consorts with God in a way that you can't. And then he'll tell you what to believe when you go to church next Sunday. with his divine, closer than Eunice to God. I mean, I think I've been
Really
talking
bad.
to Jesus. It is. It's bad. I've been talking to Jesus personally for a long time, man. I don't got to close my eyes and fold my hands. I mean, he's there. That's how it's supposed to be. You get a real personal relationship going with him. And then you do it, I mean, you're not offended. He's not offended if you happen to be doing it when you're in the bathroom. You know, he's way above all that crap with what it smells like. Because guess what? If he's ever in a dead pile of bodies with you, he ain't worried about what your shit smells like. And that's the relationship you're supposed to have with him. You make him as big as you let him in. Not how many times you go to church and how many times you listen to Joel Ovaltine, tell you how good it tasted when you were a kid, right?
Joel.
Yeah, another one of them, right? Yeah. Another one of them. I'll be your link to God. I'm between you. Do your mandatory 60. The average is whatever, 60. You ever flown over that guy's house with a drone? On like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous? That Joel Osteen guy? Man, he's got one of them pools, like it's a big rectangle. Giant. It looks like a prison or something. It doesn't even look like, yeah, it does. It's a big rectangle. And the center courtyard has this giant swimming pool the size of about, I don't know, 600 homeless people's cardboard boxes. Right? It's one of them ones, I mean, like yeah, it's one of them things Billy Madison, like, drag races the jet ski in. That's what Joel Osteen's doing. He's drag racing jet skis on Sunday afternoon after he goes and rakes in about, $800,000 an hour, right? Blowing sunshine up your ass as long as you leave the 60. It's ridiculous, man. These people look like wolves. You can look right in their eyes once you're given the armor. That's it. Once you realize what's going on. You gotta believe in something now. That's it. You've gotta spark it. And you can't just chug pineapple juice and grow your hair and wait for it to hit you. There's a link there. That's where the pineal gland's important, because there's a physical to spiritual link there. And it lies between the conscious and the subconscious. That's your way in. But if you go in there looking like a superhero, like you want these powers, you're not going to get it. It protects itself. It won't. You can't reach for it. You have to get yourself in a frame of mind to where it's given to you. And if you're looking for something, for any personal gain or ego, that's it. You got to crush the ego. And every time you manage to, it's a step for being worthy to be given more of this resonance that they're trying to keep from us. They want us very herdable. And they put a lot of effort into it. You can't see why it's worth it. Keep you just focused on that goal or not focused on anything. What if you had a kingdom and only 20,000 soldiers and a kingdom of 8 million people who didn't even have weapons? Took all their guns, all their swords and spears. Your 10,000 soldiers had swords. You'd be scared shitless. You'd be wanting to think more about mind control than what the hell you're going to do if it ever comes to blows, because 10,000 soldiers with swords and armor aren't going to stand a chance against 300,000 people with shovels. We will take over. So you got to keep them numb by the masses, divided. Very important. This is a very, very important military section with these people. It's more important than how often do they bomb us or shoot us. I mean, this is a very big military operation they've been exercising on our subconscious minds since the 50s. That's why it's worth it to them. That's the motive. These people are obviously worshiping an evil side of the Christian realm. These American leaders, world leaders, these people, these old people, and dare I say the word Jews, okay? But it's not the Jewish people. It's not your nice Jewish neighbors and, hey, you're Jewish, this family, man. They're cool people, man. there is an elite Jew. They're usually referred to as like a Zionistic Jew. They don't care about the Jews. They're no longer Jewish people. These are more of that elite bloodline people. You usually can recognize they look like vampires. They do. They look like starving vampires if you ever catch them out in the daylight. These Rothschilds and stuff. Oh, look, even the royal family. They're. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little weird, but they look a little. Yeah, Harry the Hand and all this weird stuff. They act weird, man. Yeah, it's more like here. It's the same thing. Those people don't know anything. They don't have any skill to run a country. That's why they got like the parliament and the prime minister, right? It's just like here, like where they prop this, your George, whoever, right? They got Trump, Donald J. Trump, right? He's the president. That guy can't run shit, but a company to his dad, blah blah. Yeah, I know he's a self-made man, right? Minus the $1 million loan and the key to every connection and construction in the greatest city in the United States. Dad already had that in the pocket. That means all the mobsters. I mean, you got Teamsters. We got to move the concrete in construction. Yeah, Trump's dad knew all the mob bosses personally. He didn't go to the underlings, right? A billionaire contractor. The mob checked out with Trump's dad. That's how it was back in the Godfather days. That's Trump's self-made man, But that's what I mean. He's just an actor. This is someone they got us to love way back when he had that show. You're Fired, right? They were already planning on, okay, when we make this big rollout and we're going to turn basically the presidency into a Twitter freak show. Can you picture Obama up there telling us on Twitter that some lady's stupid and looks like a horse? Can you picture Obama saying that? No. I think she's very stupid, and looks like a horse. Can you picture Obama ever tweeting something out like negative, derogatory about any woman?
No.
Yeah, they've just made a big flip in they've gotten us ready with this reality TV long enough to where we think that's how reality is. That's why women, they just slap the shit out of them. Everyone gets away with everything, right? It's about you. That's how girls really are, the way they are on Teen Mom 2. Everyone's on the verge of a nervous freaking breakdown over the car running out, anything. Right? The kids, they're getting bullied, they're going to become mass shooters. They've got us so into that they've rolled out a president now that is from TV. And not like Ronald Reagan. It was the same thing with Reagan, but more mild because TV wasn't as ruler as it is now.
Prominent.
But they were still using Reagan, right? I mean, he was the John Wayne that wanted to pull off the politician thing and go out like that, right? Yeah, he's in the books now, right? A president. And they did it, Schwarzenegger, things like that, running California. It was getting us ready for the big man, the president, They even gave him his show. I think it ran for 10 seasons. Getting us used to Trump being the boss, and he's slick, and he's very smart, and he crushes any business that comes up to him. They were getting us ready for the Trump reality TV star president to play. Look, he's up there like a pissed off, Britney Spears every day. Our president, like the representation of the most powerful guy that runs all our awesome shit.
Looks like
he's like a bitch on Twitter, like pissed off.
Yeah, like a teen.
Yeah, insulting people the way they were born, like they're, just, they're ugly and stupid. He's like illiterate, who's the huge stupid. She's very stupid. Yeah, come on, man. You never took that class in 4th grade where they told you not to use words like good. Try to find something a little better when you're writing. Don't use good 6 times in the same sentence, I mean, yikes, right? And you people believe that they gave the keys to like all our buttons, right? To this clown, right? Daddy's boy, right? It's ridiculous, man. Yeah, that's why it keeps it simple. Why would they just repeat the program basically they like to work in generations, I notice. They really change a generation to in a generation's time now with all the media, and now these generations coming up with the media worship. I mean, if you take their media away, they're done. Yeah. And now it's going to be within what it is. It's not even, they don't have to wait a generation anymore. Like to take us from the Leave It to Beaver deal to the Bart Simpson deal to the Into the Family Guy realm, and then it just keeps getting. They don't have to do that anymore with the pissed off teenagers.
They're all distracted.
It goes with as soon as they pump out a new viral thing. That's how fast they can sway a whole bunch of people. And I'm not talking about stupid viral crap on YouTube. I'm talking about what goes viral on the news, like when they decide to take any one of the thousands of people getting shot by cops and turn it into the next big Black Lives Matter explosion for the summer.
Right.
That's the summer premiere. It always rolls around. We got one now, That's how they run us. They got to keep us divided. Hey, we can't be letting the blacks and the whites get too close, because look, they get along great if we just leave them the shit alone, and don't ever let them find out we're the ones really keeping all that hate alive. Because when you hang with people like black people, I'm white. Nobody's sore about a slavery thing. I'm sorry that happened, but none of us blame each other. No one thinks that anything. I don't even know any of my relatives that would ever even know about whether they own slaves and stuff. All I know is we all always hated that shit. I mean, who the hell wants slavery? But you know what? They make it we can't forget. And they do that with our wars too, and our tragedies, same thing. And it drives a spike between an otherwise healthy black and white relationship. I mean, there's black people that love me in my life. How could I be racist, right, when there's white people that hate me, right? I found out this, Yeah, it's like an illusion that they feed us. And they do it with everything, man, The Chinese don't like the blacks, and blacks and Mexicans hate each other. In North Carolina now, there's every racial thing. And it's so ridiculous, so loosely. All these people
help me. It doesn't matter what color they
that's
are.
what happens.
They'll help you.
That's what really happens. Is we all get along. That's actually what really happens. Right. If you go out and do it. Go try it, people. Try it. Shut the program off for a little bit. Unstrap if there's a combination, I don't know what you're going to do. Get that oat bag off your face and go out there and check out living. Go into the nature. It doesn't take $180 pair of Timberlands to get out there in the grass. Go out there barefoot. Go check out the fact that, the acupressure, the stuff you got to go pay hundreds of dollars, and a little Asian genius will touch you. Well, they're all over the bottoms of your feet, and these different textures and things that the earth's here, like we mentioned before, the dewy grass, what that rush it gives you, that joy you get from your front door to your mailbox, walking across the dew. If you don't notice it, I don't know, maybe you have to try harder. It was always natural to me. I'd be like, wow, man, that first little blast. It's like good morning, the earth says to you somehow. We got hundreds of these. We got a little minnow pond at our house. We put our feet in there and let the little wild minnows, man, they start kissing the bottom. It's like acupressure. I mean, you get in the right mood and you get in the right frequency. There's ways to focus this. It feels the fish nibble our feet, and it feels like little bells dinging up our spines. It's like treatment for our discs or something. Who knows, man? It feels good. When you concentrate and realize that these frequencies and vibrations, these electric energies we're talking to you about, we are experimenting with these things, and I'm like I said before, I'm not sitting here with a crystal glued to my forehead telling you to worship blah blah blah. Okay, we're just doing this stuff, man, and yeah, we happen to be Christian, but we're not holding you to that. In fact, the Christians are getting mad at us. They don't want this is like demon worship. You got look at this, man. The devil didn't create the pineal gland. Okay, if you believe in a creator, then you believe that God created that gland in the middle of your brain that has rods and cones in it, remnants of that stuff. It even has a lens, just like our two other eyes. God, if you believe in God created you, then you believe that He put that there. That was one of the rules. The devil couldn't touch us. He couldn't, and the movies will tell you different. I know everybody's new Bible now, but he can't touch us. He can manipulate our minds. He can tempt us. And one of the things he's doing is he's got his minions, these people that are pouring fluoride in your water, in your drinking water, and telling you to brush your teeth with fluoride, And you end up swallowing this stuff. It gets calcifies. We've talked about this. It's to keep you dead. It's because they got you down there in that 440 zone. You're disrupted. You're not in sync.
Zombied out.
Zombied out and just dying to consume.
Buy stuff. Watch this.
Only the science fiction version is it's brains, right? Brains. But really, we know it's cheeseburgers. I mean, come on, guys.